Sometimes I sit and wonder, how do we explain a world where 13-year-old girl cries for help, but her voice never reaches the people who could save her? How do we explain a system that watches a child suffer in silence until her body gives up? Today, I just want to lend my voice to a girl whose story still breaks heart years later, Ochanya Ogbanje, a girl who became the face of innocence, pain, and how a nation can fail its daughter. Our story is not just a tragedy, it's a mirror reflecting what happens when education, justice, and healthcare systems collapse. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who has supported this channel, especially my last video after a long break. Those who watched my videos, left kind comments, and even shared them with others. You are truly helping me, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. If you are new here, welcome to the family. On this channel, we'll talk about health, faith, women's wellness, and real life stories that inspire change. So please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos, because here we learn together, we grow together, and we use our voices for good. Today's video is very, very close to my heart. It's about a young girl whose story shook the world, Ochanya Ogbanje. Her story is painful, but it's one we must keep telling to bring awareness, to educate, and to call for change. So please, stay with me to the end. Let's walk through our story together with compassion, reflection, and hope. Ochanya was born in Benue State, Nigeria, a bright, curious girl who only wanted to go to school. But in our community, there was no functioning primary school, no functioning secondary school. Imagine that in this century, children still walk miles to access basic education, if they are lucky to even have one nearby. So, like many families hoping for a better future, Ochanya's relatives sent her to live with a guardian, a man who promised to care for her and help her continue her studies. But instead of protection, she met pain. Instead of safety, she met repeated abuse by her guardian and his son. She endured this horror silently for years until her body broke down, and then she developed VVF, Vesicovaginal Fistula, a devastating condition that left her leaking urine uncontrollably. At just 13 years old, her body was already fighting a condition most adults can't imagine living with. Despite her pain, despite the public outcry when her story first came out, Ochanya died in 2018. The question that still echoes is simple. How did we let this happen? How? Let's pause and talk about what VVF actually means, because Ochanya's story opened the eyes of many to a condition most people didn't even know existed. VVF stands for Vesicovaginal Fistula, a hole that forms between the bladder and the vagina. It causes a woman or a girl to leak urine continuously, uncontrollably, just because of that hole. And in most cases, it happens when a woman goes through prolonged obstructed labor without proper medical care, especially in places with poor access to hospitals. But in Ochanya's case, it came from years of sexual trauma. The damage to her young body was so severe that even her organs could not recover from it. Imagine a young girl already carrying the pain of abuse, now isolated because of the smell, the shame, the rejection. Some girls live with VVF for years, hiding in corners, thinking they are cursed. But it's not a curse. It's not a punishment. It's a failure of the system, a failure of the society, a failure of a nation, a failure of a country. Ochanya's death should have been a turning point, but here we are years later and our community still has no proper school. How can there be a country where children, students still walk kilometers to learn ABC, why billions disappear into corruption, where children suffer abuse and yet the abusers walk freely. They walk free because of weak justice systems and silence. Nigeria failed Ochanya. We failed her as a people because we live in a community, we live in a society that often tells girls to keep quiet, don't talk, don't bring shame to the family, don't question elders, don't spoil the family's name, don't question elders. And that silence kills. It kills dreams, it kills hopes, it kills voices. As a nurse, as a woman, and as a mother, I can't tell Ochanya's story without feeling it in my bones because I see her in every young girl full of dreams, trusting adults to protect her. I see her in every child who deserves a safe home, good health, and good education. And as a woman of faith, I know God never intended for children to suffer this way. When Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me," it didn't mean only on Sundays. It meant let them live, thrive, let them thrive and be protected every day. Sometimes I wonder if we all did what we could in our own little corners, in our own little way, how many Ochanyas could be saved? If teachers, parents, nurses, pastors, doctors, neighbors refuse to stay silent when something feels wrong, how many lives could we change? Faith without action is dead. Prayers without compassion are empty. If we truly believe, then we must speak, even when our voices shake. VVF doesn't just affect the body, it destroys lives quietly. Here is what many don't even know. In Africa, over 500,000 women are living with untreated VVF. Most are young girls who married or got pregnant too early. Some were victims of sexual violence like Ochanya. Many live in remote villages without access to surgery. But here is the good news, or here is the good part. VVF is preventable and treatable. And the prevention includes stopping child marriage and early pregnancy, educating girls and communities, ensuring skilled health workers attend every childbirth, providing proper maternal care, and teaching boys about respect and boundaries. I can't overemphasize that. And the treatment is just a simple surgery, often free in some centers. And this is just to close the fistula, and emotional and psychological support to help survivors heal fully. And rehabilitation helps them to also return back to school or work. But awareness is the first step, and that is what we are doing right now. Ochanya's story isn't just about one girl, it's about every system that failed her: education, justice, healthcare. It's about every leader who looked away and every voice that stayed silent. It's also about hope that maybe if we keep talking, if we keep teaching, if we keep caring, the next generation will be different. Because every time we tell a story, we remind the world that silence is not protection. That girls in rural communities deserve schools, they deserve safety and dreams too. That children are not property, they are purpose. I believe that God is still raising voices that will speak where silence once lived. If you are watching this, let Ochanya's story stir something in you. Let it move you to speak up, to educate, to care. Maybe you can't change the whole system. You can teach one child. You can support a girl's education. You can pray, give, share, and protect. Because real change begins with compassion, and compassion begins with awareness. So today, we remember Ochanya. We remember our laughter, our dreams, our pain, and our courage. And we say never again. Never again should a child's life end because our voice was unheard. May our story move us to build a world where every girl is safe, educated, and free. May our memory be a seed birthing change, justice, and hope. If this story touched you, don't just scroll away. Share it, talk about it, educate someone. And to anyone living with VVF or any trauma, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not dirty. You are not forgotten. And healing is possible. There's still life after pain. This is not just Ochanya's story. It's a call. to me, to you, to all of us to stand for what is right, because silence truly is not an option.